So our last speaker will be speaking direct from San Fernando, Pampanga. He is the most senior regional leader for TRF, as he has completed 9 full years, starting as Assistant Regional Rotary Foundation Chair for 3 years, Regional Rotary Foundation, another 3 years as Regional Rotary Foundation Chair, and having completed his EMGA for the last 3 years. And because of this hard work, he is now serving as a member of the Fund Development Committee of the Rotary Foundation until June 30, 2025. A multi-awarded businessman and recipient of the highest award from Rotary International, the Service Above Self Award, and the Distinguished Service Award from the Rotary Foundation. Please welcome from Pampanga, from the Rotary Club of Western Pampanga, District 3790, a member of the AKS Trustees Circle, past District Governor Jess Nicdao.
Thank you. Thank you, Gov Ebet. Let me just share my screen. I hope you can see my screen now. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're still in touch and awake. Protocol observed. Let me just greet everyone, the Rotary leaders, and all participants in this morning's training session. My topic that was given to me by EMG June is the donor is always right. So, you know, the learning objectives for this session are two. One is to know the ways that a donor can give to the foundation, and to understand the importance of donor-centric giving. Now, let's begin with the customer is always right, because this is more popular. I'm sure you heard of this phrase already. The customer is always right. Do you believe it? Perhaps not. The phrase, the customer is always right, should not imply that the customer is never wrong. Instead, your business, especially the one that I'm into, should use the philosophy to ensure that the customer and their needs are always your first priority. While the customer, while always right usually translate to never wrong, this is not necessarily the case when it comes to customer service. Customers are not going to be right in every situation, but they are entitled to having support and service teams do everything in their power within reason to satisfy their needs. Now, what about the donor? Is the donor always right? You know, in the context of what we do for our foundation, which is soliciting donations, our customers are our donors, and we want to ensure that they and their needs are our first priority. They are entitled to have our support, and that we must do everything in our power, of course within reason, to satisfy their needs. You know, donors want to feel like you're actively listening to their concerns. We should always give them the platform to share their opinions, both the positive and the negative. The donors always has the privilege to feel empowered, especially in choosing which fund they want their donation to go. Empowered donors, of course, are happy donors. Happy donors most likely will continue to give to the foundation year after year. You know, we should always create an environment where donors feel happy in giving, knowing where their money goes, how well it is spent, and how funds are professionally managed by the foundation. Knowledge bases and FAQs are two solid places to start. Of course, Gretchen mentioned these, the stewardship goals. And as I said earlier, we need to continue making our donors happy so that they will continue donating to our foundation year after year. And of course, this is an ongoing process of thanking donors and keeping our donors involved and connected to how their gift continues to make a difference. And then, of course, we should respect requests for donor anonymity. And fourth is to decide on the next action steps. Now, let us look and evaluate our donor base so that we can determine where we need to focus our efforts. In this data of 2020-2021, of the percentage of outright donations, you can see that a large majority of donors are individuals. In fact, 75.3%. 19.8% comes from Rotary organizations and 4.9% are business, charity, and government organizations. While we need to continue pursuing individuals, we can also see a potential in Rotary organizations and other business, charity, and government organizations. Again, this graph will show you that in all of the years from 2015 to the present, individual donors are still the large majority of about 75% of total donations. Again, followed by Rotary organizations, business, charity, and government. Now, if we dig deeper on our data, for individual donors, you will find that 87.4% are active Rotarians. 8.3% are former Rotarians, 4.3% are non-Rotarians, and a small 0.03% are active Rotaractors. So you will see that there is potential in many of these individuals like active Rotaractors and former Rotarians. Now, for organizations, you will see that 72.3% are coming from Rotary clubs, 11% from business and governments, and 8.3% from charity organizations, 6.9% from Rotary districts, and 0.8% from club and district foundation. Having this data with us will now help us evaluate our efforts, especially in planning our donor engagement activities. Now, why focus on Rotarians? You know, as seen earlier, 75% of charitable gifts are from individuals, and 1.2 million Rotarians plus 200 Rotaractors is a good base to start. Rotarians are generous people, especially Filipino Rotarians, as you have seen in the data that was provided by June Farcon. We also know where to find them. They're all over the Philippines. And Rotarians know a lot of individuals and corporations who are capable of giving. In fact, in the Philippines, it was not mentioned that there are big donors, in fact, AKS members, who are not even Rotarians. And I think we just presented to them the projects and the programs of the foundation, and immediately they contributed to the foundation and became AKS members. Now, what are the funds where you want your donations to go? And there are many funds or options where donations can go. The annual fund, where contributions are held and invested for 3 years before the funds are made available for programs and grants. Of course, the endowment fund, the Polio Plus Fund, which is a primary initiative of Rotary. We are very close to eradication, but there is still work to be done and much more funds to be raised. And then we have the endowment fund. As you all know, the first endowment fund initiative was in 1996. The initial goal of 200 million was surpassed in 1999, 6 years ahead of schedule, building a strong base for the foundation. And now our goal is to raise 2,025 million by the year 2025, which was discussed by Karina earlier. And the last one is term gifts and directed gifts, which can be used by donors to meet their specific wishes to support global grants within a specific period of time, generally within 1 or 2 years. The ways to contribute to the foundation, of course, there is the online or recurring giving. Online is easy. Use the donate page on Rotary.org or the Rotary Direct to give automatically every month, every quarter, or every year. We also have the bequests. You can make a bequest to the Rotary Foundation in your estate plan. The foundation offers several ways to structure charitable gifts, which vary by country, and you can always request Gretchen to help you on this. We also have the employer matching gifts. I think this is not popular in the Philippines. It's similar to like the SSS, where the employer matches the donation of employees. If that is available, check if your employer does that. And if so, use the match to maximize your gifts. And of course, we have the directed and name endowment. You can create an endowed fund and make a directed gift in your name or in the name of a loved one. Directed gifts are spent in their entirety, usually in the next 1 or 2 Rotary years. Of course, the last one is the memorial and tribute gifts. This is a gift or a meaningful way to honor a family member or friend. Just designate the gift as being in honor or in memory of someone on our donation page. As mentioned earlier also, the ways to give are today and forever. On giving today, donors have the option whether they want their donations to be used today, and donors can choose to be an ERA or giving $100 every year, or a member of the Paul Harris Society donating $1,000 every year. The target is about 200 to 300 Paul Harris Society members per year. Imagine if you have 200, you already have $200,000 in the district every year. Of course, the major gifts of $10,000 or more, the target is 50 major gifts per year. And the directed gifts, which was also discussed earlier. Now, donation to the endowment fund supports the same life-changing programs forever. Donors can choose to be a benefactor or $1,000, Bequest Society member donating $10,000 and above, and over $25,000 named endowment fund. We normally would recommend to donate to the endowment fund share, because that will allow the earnings of the fund to go back to the district's DDF. Now, of course, again, there are, this is also important aspect to some potential donors, the contribution levels and recognition. And this is why the Rotary Foundation recognizes donors with corresponding pins and certificates as shown on the screen. And again, we now have the Rotary Promise Club, and this was also discussed earlier by Karina. We have the first Rotary Promise Club in Asia. This is the Rotary Club of Metro Valenzuela from District 3800. I just want to share with you the philanthropy update. This is as of April, sorry. The one on the screen is as of January. As of April, we have more than $300 million already. But look closely, and I'm confident that we can achieve again our goal of $430 million. You know, during Rotary year 2020-21, during the height of the pandemic, we hit a remarkable $440 million against a goal of 410. The same thing happened last year. With a goal of 410 million, we hit 434.4 million. Rotarians did not stop giving during the pandemic, and despite being victims of the pandemic themselves, we continued to give. Major gifts, this was discussed by Gretchen and Karina. I don't need to elaborate on this, but why are we concentrating on major gifts? Because of the tremendous impact, the big returns for our organization and donors. The most cost-effective method of fundraising, efficient and use of limited resources, which I will discuss further with some figures. And then, of course, it creates momentum and confidence and inspires others. This is the reason why we have been able to convince many Rotarians to become major donors and AKS members. Types of major gifts, I think you all know this, and this was discussed earlier. This is the major gifts performance in the last 3 years, which I wanted to emphasize because for the 3-year period from 2019 to 22, the contributions of major gifts amount to 30 to 36% of total giving, which is a substantial number considering also that donations are coming only from an average of 60 donors per year. Imagine that. The effort in doing this solicitation from 60 donors contributing 30 to 36% of total giving for the zone. The foundation impact. Last year, the Rotary Foundation raised 434 million, which funded close to 130 Rotary Peace fellowships, 478 district grants, 1,199 global grants. And all of these, including our mobilization for Ukraine, where we raised $15 million initially, but the fundraising continues for Ukraine. Of course, the expenditures, in addition to the program, just highlighted, the foundation awarded an impressive 150 million to 33 Polio Plus grants, 73 million for global grants, 27 million for district grants, 2 million for one program of scale. In total, the foundation spent 330 million last year. We also gave funds for the disaster, for the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. Now, I'd like also to highlight that for 2022-23, we already have 80 new AKS members, 1,900 major donors, 5 Legacy Society members, 175 new Bequest Society members, 16 AKS level changes, 19,000 Paul Harris Fellows, for a total of 300,000 donors. This is already more than the 2021-22 donors, and this is just the January 2023 figures. Now, my last slide is the Philippine Rotary Foundation Incorporated. Because the Rotary Foundation recognizes the increasing donations of Philippine Rotary, the trustees approved the creation of our longtime dream of having our own Philippine Rotary Foundation, or PRFI. We are happy to tell you that the incorporation of PRFI has been completed, and we are now in the process of getting the accreditation from the Philippine Council of NGO certification. Well, because when everything is in place, all donations from the Philippines will now be deposited in the Philippines, in a Philippine bank, in fact, Bank of the Philippine Islands. And once approved and accredited by the appropriate government agency, which is the PCNC, the Philippine Council for NGO Certification, Filipino donors can then avail of tax credits or tax deductions for their donations. donations other than cash, appreciated securities or assets, gifts of life insurance, gifts by one's estate through a will can be processed locally. And there will be more options for big donations, including directed gifts, donor advice fund, and perhaps donors from corporations. We are all excited with this development because this will encourage more donations to the Rotary Foundation once we will start operations soon. Now, for the District Foundation team, you have a lot of resources with you, as shown on the screen and which was discussed by June earlier. So that is it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Past District Governor Jess, for that very enlightening presentation. It's always a pleasure listening to your talks on any topic, but most especially when you talk about our Rotary Foundation.
Thank you.